Okay, here's the song that Christina mentioned called The Rainbow. Up and down the countryside, underneath the lucky sky, whistling a foolish song, I've been walking madly on. Bought into it long ago, the story of the pot of gold. Lately in my troubled sleep, haunted by another dream. Dream I reach the end of the journey I've been on, and all I finally find is a smiling leprechaun. So I ask, will you patiently tell me, have you seen a pot of gold? He says, have you seen the rainbow? Have you seen the colors gleam, shimmer on a silent sea? Have you seen the colors shine brightly in another's eyes? Have you seen a firefly? Have you seen a lark? Have you seen the light burning in your beating heart? Have you seen the way the morning glows? Have you seen the red and green and gold? He says, have you seen the rainbow? I'm a diddly daddy, diddly daddy. 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 Up and down the countryside, you can see me hurry by, passing diamonds on the road, just to find a pot of gold. But I dream that at the end of the journey I've been on, all I finally find is a smiling leprechaun. So I ask, will you impatiently tell me, have you seen a pot of gold? He says, have you seen the rainbow? So I ask, will you patiently tell me, have you seen a pot of gold? He says, have you seen the rainbow?
Thank you so much, Peter. Wonderful music. I'm Mark Marnaka, lay worship leader for today. Friends, blessed travelers on this holy yet twisting journey, we are present together in a time that our world has cracked. Our road has suddenly turned, now a narrow path along a steep gorge, under the shadow of illness, danger, even death. We do not yet have a clear path forward. I am holding on to hope and curiosity about when and how we may reach, hopefully all of us together, the afterward that would follow this pandemic, the time of great healing of our social fabric and our sense of connection and community. We are not the first for whom the world has cracked. History has many tales of destruction, the healing times afterwards, and the scars that remain, the illnesses and destructions experienced by Native Americans, the shattered worlds of slavery, the flu epidemic of 100 years ago, the shattered worlds of the Great Depression and the Dust Bowl, the scars of war I remember witnessing when growing up on the grounds of a Veterans Administration hospital. Recently, I told a very young checkout clerk at our little Hortonville grocery store that she will tell her grandchildren about these times. She was pleasantly amused, and I hope she thought of her grandparents and perhaps what they had chosen to tell her. Part of the afterwards will be the rainbow after the storm is moving away, that holds up a lens that shows us all the colors of light and stops time for those who look and see. So there will be the time of the lesson of the rainbow, the time of again seeing colors shine brightly in another's eyes, the end of our journey through the shadows of illness and social distance. Yet already there are cracks in our sense of safety, in our medical system, in our financial world, in our futures. But I am reminded and so grateful for yet another of Peter Mayer's songs as we look forward to the times of healing. In the afterwards, we may be like those Japanese bowls that were made long ago. I have some cracks in me, they have been filled with gold. So now every old scar shows from every time I broke, and anyone's eyes can see I'm not what I used to be. So along with the rainbow may be the gold that will fill and heal the damages of this time. That healing starts now, and we are already on the wondrous outskirts of afterwards. As Leonard Cohen teaches us, ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. May you and all of us shine on, look deeply into others' eyes, and find the gold that heals the wounds of this journey. Take time to practice your arts, to sing, to write, to light the campfire, to love the spring, to plant the seed, to care for families. As the French artist Georges Braque said, art is a wound turned into light. So be it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark, for those beautiful words. And we will hear our postlude this morning at the end of the service will be that song by Peter Mayer that Mark referenced, The Japanese Bowl. Just as a reminder, here at the fellowship, we are celebrating a year of healing and wholeness. So that metaphor of the brokenness and the wholeness and the cracks being where the light gets in, that is what we're experiencing right now. Peter Mayer's beautiful song, The Rainbow, was scheduled for this morning. We had made this plan months ago to have Peter join us. He was planning to be live in person, and I'm so glad he was still able to join us through Zoom. But we planned to talk about the rainbow because we were planning to have this be the final Sunday of our stewardship campaign. We were going to be talking about money, or the proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I was planning to talk with you this morning about how searching for that gold is not the point of our stewardship campaign. But the rainbow, noticing the rainbow, is even more important as we need to continue funding our mission. But today, we're facing very different circumstances. But I want to talk to you about a very different interpretation of that same song. The song talks about how a person spent their whole life on a journey to try to find that pot of gold. And when they get to the end of the rainbow, all they find is a smiling leprechaun. And when the person asks the leprechaun, "Have you seen the pot of gold?" the leprechaun only asks the question back, "Have you seen the rainbow?" Today in this crisis, I find myself searching for something. I find myself searching for an answer, a reason, a purpose for all of this chaos. It's really normal. It's a healthy human response to trauma, to try to find the reason. And that's what we're experiencing right now, a collective national and international trauma. I turn to the biblical story of Job, the story of the man who just has terrible thing after terrible thing happen to him. And in that story, after all the terrible things, his friends come by and they try to each offer a different explanation for why he has lost everything. Spoiler alert, Job finds those friends incredibly frustrating. I hear many folks right now trying to locate that meaning in this crisis too. I hear people attributing political meaning, or even giving human agency to this virus, or claiming that Mother Nature has done this to help us slow down and heal the earth. It's natural to want to attribute or find or locate meaning. But I'm going to invite us all into a spiritual practice of stop trying to locate that meaning, to just be with what we are right now. Like Job's friends, we're not really helping by doing that. And so, like the pot of the gold at the end of the rainbow, if we spend this whole time trying to find the meaning, we're going to be disappointed. There's nothing there to find. But instead, we can notice, we can observe, and we can create meaning and purpose in this time. There is meaning to be made if not found. We can allow ourselves to slow down. We can allow time for introspection if we live alone, or we can allow time for family connection if we're surrounded by others in our home. We can pick back up a spiritual or a creative practice. I want to be clear that this virus did not happen so that you could reconnect with your knitting practice. Neither God nor evolution works that way. But we can create meaning and purpose and help each other and support our communities and tend to our own lives and to our own families as we are each able in this crisis. This virus did not happen so that we could learn to be more generous or so that we could learn to ask for help when we need it. There is no theology in which that is helpful as a human response. But even if it didn't occur for that reason, we can still use this time to learn to be generous and to learn to ask for help when we need it. We can practice being more generous. We can practice asking for what we need. Rather than finding meaning in this journey, we can create it or we can learn it. May we each, in our own circumstances and grief and experience, create the time to notice the rainbow, even amid this big stormy time. And rather than focus on finding the gold to be found at the end, I hope that we can each recognize the meanings to be created as we travel along this path separately, but also together.